we did have a question about how we might use RevMan and customize different review types for a scoping review. I shared a link about the different review types you can create with a subscription, but perhaps you could talk about a scoping review.
So we don't really have scoping reviews as a review type in RevMan. Um, and I'm not really in a position to make a methods decision whether our current types could be sort of tweaked into supporting that, but I'd be happy to come back.
Yeah, so for that question, then I think, Yvonne, if you could send an email to support@cochrane.org and we can look into this and provide a more detailed answer. The next question, Rebecca, is can automatic analysis options be used for varied variables? For example, if dichotomous and continuous, or do dichotomous and continuous variables need to be set up separately?
Yeah, so you always need to assess, like the outcomes are either dichotomous or continuous. So that means you will not be including data from two different data types. But with that said, I know there are ways that you can sort of change scales so that they're dichotomous instead. So you can sort of transform continuous data to dichotomous, but again, not my expertise area. But I would actually recommend to either send in a question or to use the Cochrane handbook, because I'm pretty sure that has a section on how to do that. It's just been a long time since I read it.
Wonderful, thank you. Another question says, how are population subgroups added and stratified? Is it the same principle as subgroups in interventions?
Yes, so you can use it in the same way. So you don't need to use like dose that's related to the intervention. You could use any type of category that relates to the study.
Another question later on says, can RevMan be used for non-PICO reviews? So I'm
Oh,
guessing perhaps a non-intervention review, perhaps is that question? I'm not clear.
yeah, I'm also not clear on what that would mean, but I think generally quite a few of the methods expect the um, so the methods for meta-analysis expect that the studies are randomized controlled trials. So there are some assumptions built into that that could otherwise mean that you shouldn't be using meta-analysis methods in RevMan. But with that said, we are also in the future looking into how we can better support other study types. That's quite a bit ahead, but it's definitely something we're aware of.
There is a question about best using RevMan for a Cochrane review update,
Mhm.
and any tips related to that.
Oh, right. So what can you do to make that process as easy as possible? So actually, I would recommend to use the dynamic analysis result. That would be one option to make sure that you can really not have to update the results later. So it's quite a lot easier to insert just one link per result compared to typing the whole result again. In terms of updating, if you're using study-centric data and the data extraction templates, your process is going to be a lot easier. But if you haven't used that in your review before, then the process could be the process to sort of migrate your manual analysis to automatic analysis could be cumbersome, but it could also be quite straightforward. So it really depends on the review. So I would actually suggest that if you have questions about that, maybe reach out to the methods support unit. They could be able to help you with that.
Yeah, and to do that, I think always good to start off with an email to support@cochrane.org with your specific questions about your review update. We may be able to answer some, and then we can refer you on to the method support unit. I did want to flag, we answered this one already, but there was a question about when we might use the new REML method for heterogeneity. So there are a few links in that chat to some webinars about the new statistical methods in RevMan that I wanted to call out, as well as links to the knowledge base and the handbook on those. So we're very excited to have those
Yes,
methods
yes.
in RevMan.
It's been long coming, so it's really exciting. And so basically they are available in RevMan now, so you can start using them. Um, it, uh, that doesn't mean you have to use them right now. So you can probably read the complete guidance on when to use them for Cochrane reviews, that in the information that Rachel shared.
We had a couple of questions about practice reviews and trials. So I just put a link into the chat now with a link to information about how you can use practice reviews. You can have one practice review at a time. They last for 30 days. You cannot export review data from a practice review. And if only one person can work on a practice review. So if you want to collaborate, you'll need to use a subscription. A question about will the video be shared? And yes, it will, to everyone that registered. I'm coming, let's see. There's a question about DTA reviews and whether this is supported with RevMan.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they are supported, but there are there's at least part of the workflow where you actually need to do some analysis outside of RevMan. But we do have several figures that you can generate based on that data then in RevMan. There are knowledge base pages that describe what RevMan can support, so I suggest heading to that and have a look.